So this time I'm going to be taking this hardware off of the body and stripping this finish off. I mean, I wish, maybe I'll just take a picture of it, but there's almost a millimeter of polyurethane on this thing. It is so thick. It feels like a hunk of plastic. So I'm going to get this off here. What I'm going to be doing is using a heat gun and a scraper. I thought about going the chemical route, but frankly, it's so incredibly thick. I'm probably going to have better luck with the heat gun, but we'll see. I mean, it might be a combination. And then obviously some sanding as well. Okay, well that post came out. Good times. So the bridge is interesting. I'd like to see what goes on under here. This thing, if you're wondering, is a mute. It used to have a piece of foam rubber or something like that right there, and this pops up and it's mounted on springs, and would press up against the strings and act as a mute. I have no idea what that would sound like, and frankly I don't really have any use for it, but I think it's kind of cool and I'm going to leave it on there. Alright, so let's get this bridge off. Interesting, one of them is a Phillips head screw and the other is a flat blade screw. Looks like everything on this guitar was flat head screws at one point, and somebody replaced one of the screws with this Phillips head. Alright, so let's do this. Okay, so here we go. Moment of truth. Interesting. Okay, so those are the screw holes, and then they drilled, wow, really far into this body for these two little nuts. I mean, it's probably, what? Over a ½ inch deep for something that is, you know, nothing. But hey, whatever. We'll just go from there. Alright, so let's get this tremolo system off. So one thing that's interesting, let's talk about this for a sec. Here, I'll get it. So this is an odd system. This is the tremolo piece, and if you can see here, he even left the original funky looking strings on here, but it's got a little lip here, right? And there's a notch. Let's see if there we go. There's a notch there. So if you look at this, there is a groove up under here. You probably have a hard time seeing that. And there's a little pin. So what happens is this is never completely attached to the body at all. So what it does, it slides here and is aligned with that pin and stays right here, and then there's a spring that does this. Now, I never play with a tremolo, like the spring is mounted on this. So I might get a little creative and make something that's more fixed, but for now I think I'll just go with stock, leave it alone, and see what happens. Okay, let's see if there's anything under here. I don't think so. I think it's just a flush mounted surface mounting plate for the whole thing, and the entire tremolo is dependent on that spring that goes right here. But let's see. Okay. All right. Yep, just flush mount. There's another deep hole here. Have no idea why, because there's nothing here, but there's a big hole. There's also, I don't know whether you can see this in the light. No, you can't. Looks like they had drilled another hole and then filled it in or something. Anyway, that's not necessary. I'll probably fill that in because, again, I'm taking off all of this really thick finish. So I'll have the opportunity to fill in some holes and gaps. There's also, I noticed there's a slight belly cut here, very slight. And there's a huge ding there. So once I get this finish off, I'll be able to see what the wood is like, etc. Oh, and then somebody got creative here. That's just a Phillips head screw. It's screwed in where the strap button would have been. There is an original strap button here, but it's pretty plasticky and doesn't feel very good. I like to play with strap locks, and with a guitar this heavy, I'm definitely putting strap locks on this thing. Okay, so I'm going to get these two screws off, and at that point we'll be ready to start stripping.